Hello mga Ka-ECOP, I am Jose Roland Moya. The Employers Confederation of the Philippines is here to ensure that your voice as employers is heard, articulated, and acted upon. ECOP addresses industrial relations issues, promotes social dialogue, and fosters proactive collaboration among employers and stakeholders. We are here to help employers become responsible, sustainable, and inclusive. ECOP has dual functions. First is its advocacy and lobbying role on labor and social policy issues on behalf of employers before the executive and legislative branches of the government. Second is the delivery of direct services, including training, capacity building, consultancy, provision of information, among others. By the way, huwag po kayong aalis. Manood po tayo sa buong programa. Sagutin ang aming ECOPlus question for the day. I-post ang tamang sagot sa Facebook account ng ECOP at manalo ng premyo. May I introduce to you my co-host in today's episode of our digital TV program, Miss Cristia Banda, Membership, Engagement and Development Associate of the Employers Confederation of the Philippines.
Thank you so much for having me here today with you, Sir Roland. Mga ka-ECOP, welcome to ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice, every other Monday at 5:30 p.m. Ang episode natin ngayon ay tungkol sa millennials, their dreams, advocacies, and careers. Anyone born between 1981 and 1996, ages 26 to 41 in 2022, is considered a millennial. Ngayong gabi, makakasama natin ang ilan sa mga millennials na masasabi nating trailblazers sa kani-kanilang mga propesyon at matagumpay na naitataguyod ang kanilang mga advokasya.
Ang unang makakasama natin ngayon ay si Miss Carmina Bayombong, Chief Executive Officer of InvestEd Philippines. Hello, Miss Carmina. Magandang gabi sa iyo and thank you for guesting in our episode tonight. Why don't you greet the viewers of ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice?
So hello everyone, very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting my company InvestEd and myself to talk about our advocacy in the time of the pandemic for our youth.
Yeah, for the first question, at a very young age, Carmina, you have very impressive credentials. You have a degree in Industrial Engineering from the University of the Philippines, 3 certificates from Asian Institute of Management on Entrepreneurship, Startup Management and Data Strategy, and a Social Entrepreneurship certificate from INSEAD. What is driving your pace, and how do all this contribute to your career advancement and personal advocacies?
Ang haba ng listahan. Similar to the students that we serve at InvestEd, my personal drive talaga is I'm really a curious learner and a curious innovator. So, but what really drives me is yung passion and dedication to help students. Because I personally experienced seeing my own relatives and my own friends when I was in college that they struggled with schooling, and not just schooling but transitioning from school to the job market and the workforce. So on top of that, yung mga magulang ko, they also nakaahon din sila sa kahirapan dahil sa education. So I know that education is such a powerful tool for moving up in life, and those experiences combined is really what drives me to be in this advocacy to bring education access to our young people. So personally naman, I know that for me to be able to succeed in this advocacy, I need to keep learning and I need to keep getting better in my craft. So that's why I continue to pursue education whenever I can and learn new things.
Okay, thank you. So, we want to know, what led you to establish InvestEd? Sino ang mga kasama mo sa pagbuo nito? Ano po ba ang InvestEd at ang mga serbisyo na ino-offer ninyo? And also, what does it envision to achieve as a social enterprise?
Yeah. So InvestEd was actually founded by 3 people. So I have 2 co-founders. Their names are Ro and Melissa. And we're all actually UP students. So what was our inspiration, right? It was both professional experience and personal experience. So professionally, actually the 3 of us worked with thousands of young people, mostly disadvantaged young people here in the Philippines and in other parts of the world throughout our career. And we saw that the problem of education access, parehas lang siya whether nasa Pilipinas ka or nasa Africa ka or nasa other parts ka ng Asia. So that was one of our inspirations. How come there's very few people trying to solve this problem of education access? And there's also personal experience there. So as I mentioned, I was inspired by my parents and how education allowed them to move up in life and bring me, their daughter, a better life. And yung co-founders ko, like our president and COO right now, si Ro, he actually has lived experience similar to our students from grade school to MBA. Self-funded siya actually by scholarships, working multiple part-time jobs, and a student loan. So similar to a lot of the students right now who are struggling to make ends meet and also pay for their tuition. So what's our vision? Our vision at Invested is to see a world where every young dreamer has no barriers to success. And to achieve this vision, that's why we created Invested. So Invested is actually trying to solve this problem that there's 30 million young Filipinos right now who can barely get past schooling and are likely to fail in the transition from school to workforce due to the pandemic and the changes it has created. So InvestEd is a platform. You can check us out, invested.ph. Invested is a platform that provides students the 3 C's they need to succeed. And what are these 3 C's? First is capital for their education and upskilling. Second is coaching for skills that they need to succeed in school and in the job market. And third is actually a community that we provide them, which gives them emotional support through this difficult life stage. So yeah, our vision in the long term is to serve millions of students, allow them to get access to education, and allow them and their families to have a better life through the power of education.
Yeah, Carmina, InvestEd Philippines provides our youth an opportunity to continue with their studies, but you mentioned that around 30 million Filipinos would find it difficult to get on with their studies because probably they may not have the resources. So you provide them the means, the financial resources to be able to continue with their studies. Can you please elaborate on that?
Happy to. To add to that, so we're very widely known for our education financing program.
Okay.
And what we're very proud of is that we especially designed it for students na naghihirap at nagsa-struggle. So ano ang key features nito? Actually, hindi lang siya for tuition. So students can borrow money they need for their education, either for tuition, pwede siyang gadget or laptop for online learning. Pwede rin siyang for daily allowances. Pwede rin kung hindi ka nagte-take up ng college degree, we also offer loans for certificate courses and upskilling, and meron din kami for licensure exam expenses. So it draws from our experience as founders that young dreamers actually they have a lot of expenses beyond tuition. So yun, we have a study now, pay later program. So we are proud to provide long loan terms between 24 to 36 months for our students and their families, so they can have the time and they can afford the monthly payments needed for the loan. And then our interest rates are similar to bank rates. Very affordable na rin siya. And yun, and this very, very special part of our loan program, of course, is that it comes free with coaching. So our coaching focuses on teaching our students self-management, such as yung mga skills like goal setting, o ano ba yung goal mong trabaho. Pagka-graduate mo, no, kailangan mo na planuhin yun, diba? Meron din kaming financial literacy, which is teaching our students how to manage their first paycheck, how to manage their finances as a student, and also, most importantly, career development coaching, which will be how to find a job, diba? Napaka-complex ngayon ng job hunting in the market. So, how do you stand out from the thousands of job seekers, right? And more importantly, kapag may work ka na, kapag graduated na yung student namin, we also coach them on how they can get promoted, how they can provide more value for their employers so that, they can get more progression in their career. Yon.
Yeah, Carmina, how would you differentiate InvestEd Philippines financial loan program from the usual loan sharks na imbes na makatulong doon sa
Correct.
nangangailangan ay lalo silang nalulubog sa utang?
Talagang napakalaking problema noon dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? And in designing, invested and creating it, that was really like part of the thinking na how do we make this very student-friendly? Paano tayo magpapautang to students without sacrificing their welfare and increasing their anxiety, diba? So what really differentiates as a lending company that's offering our services to students, it's really our coaching program and the supportive community that comes with it. So to tell you, our students actually interact with coaches from the point of time the loan application stage pa lang. We have financial coaches at loan application stage that guide our student kung magkano ba talaga yung dapat nilang i-borrow. So we make sure that students don't borrow more than what they can pay for. So that's one. So even if that means, we're very mission first. So we advise the students what's the best option for them, even if sometimes that means na hindi pala siya invested, di ba? So yun, we have coaching at loan application stage, and then even after they get approved for a loan, they have an invested coach that they can talk to anytime with any problems they have. And at repayment stage, we don't create anxiety for our students when we ask them to pay. In fact, we have a different approach. We pioneered a counseling type of collection sa loans. So for our students, talaga siyang mentoring. So we teach them. So instead of yung mga naririnig yung nakakatakot na ways to collect loans out there, diba? Kami, we instead teach our students how to be responsible adults. So kung wari nahihirapan magbayad, we teach them instead, okay, ano ba nangyari dun sa pag-manage mo ng finances mo? Diba? Saan ka na nagkaroon ng error sa budgeting, diba? Or kuwari, talagang hirap na si student and his family. So we also go as far as trying to counsel them on how to manage family problems and so on. So yun, we counsel and teach students values and how to be responsible adults instead. And in effect, parang our students voluntarily pay. They choose to repay because for them, invested is someone they see na really looks out for them. Yon.
So, Miss Carmina, it's very admirable what you're trying to do at InvestEd to try and support students to pursue an education. But we also want to know, kasi pag sinabing loan, medyo mabigat pakinggan kasi utang,
Yes.
medyo may negative connotation. So, paano natin mako-convince ang mga kabataan at young adults na walang masama sa pag-avail ng student loan, specifically sa InvestEd?
Yeah. So yun, great question, di ba? So ang masasabi ko lang sa ating mga kabataan, nakakatakot talaga ang konsepto ng utang, lalo na dito sa Pilipinas, di ba, maraming nakakatakot. So my first tip to students is definitely study the loan you're taking out before you do so, because if you don't pick the right institution that will really look out for you, then that will really be an added pressure and problem to you and your family. So, yun, for me, basta the institution cares about students, and you can talk to the present borrowers of Invested and their experience with us. That's how I would encourage students to look into our loans, because it's really part of our mission to preserve student welfare, make sure that the loan they're taking out is something that they can pay in the future. So that's one. And second is our own students are actually part of our organization. And that's saying a lot, because they wouldn't be part of this cause if they've had a bad experience with Invested. So yun. Siguro, one thing is that, loans are bad. Ito lang, pag nag-financial literacy training kasi kami to students, these are quite complex financial concepts na kailangan namin i-break down, right? So what we usually tell students is, a loan is good if it allows you to create more money in the future. And a loan is bad if it gets you into even more debt. Diba? So kapag umuutang ka, tapos mas lalo ka lang mababaon, that's not good. Pero pag umuutang ka, for example, for your education, from an institution that will actually train you up and gives affordable rates that you can pay in the future so that you can finish your education and increase your income, then the loan is actually good. So yun.
Yeah, Carmina, kailan nga pala na-establish yung InvestEd? Ilan na ba yung mga nakinabang sa mga programa nyo at ano yung mga requirements upang maka-avail ng financial loan yung sino mang interesado?
Yeah. So Invested was actually born in 2016, the idea, and we started operating a few months later on. So to date, we've actually helped 1,700 students, and we've given upwards of 50 million pesos in loans to them. And the requirements are really very few. We don't require collateral as long as you're a Filipino student enrolled in a higher education institution or a higher education learning institution, kahit hindi degree, pwede siyang for upskilling or certificate courses, you're eligible for a loan. We are mainly serving students in Luzon, but we're also open na in a few cities in Visayas and Mindanao. So yun, and I just want to mention that our program actually wouldn't be possible if it weren't for our funders. A typical question I get is like, where do we get the money for the loans we provide students? We actually get it from our impact lenders, who are either corporate employers, corporate foundations, or impact funds, or mga high net worth individuals who put in their money for Invested because they wanted to create impact. And we manage those funds and lend it out to deserving students. So yon.
So you mentioned that you now have plenty of students that you were able to support through this program and these financial literacy lessons and such. Do you have any inspiring success stories to share with the viewers that you think millennials and even Gen Z especially, since they are now also part of the workforce, would be able to resonate with?
Yeah. Sobrang dami. Grabe, nakaka-melt talaga kapag naririnig yung success stories ng students namin. So one success story I would share is one of our students who was actually before Invested when I first met him in 2018. 8 kasi yung kapatid niya. So you can imagine, 8 yung kapatid niya tapos hindi nakatapos ng college or higher education, parehas na magulang. So you can imagine na ang hirap talaga ng buhay. And he actually had to drop out of college because he just couldn't afford it. And ang mahirap doon is kahit gaano siya kagaling magtrabaho, hindi siya makakuha ng salary above minimum wage dahil wala siyang degree. So nung nahanap ko si Invested, nakahinga siya finally and was able to go back to school, finish his degree, and really, like, if I would say, move up in life talaga. So this student of ours, he's been promoted twice in his full-time job. Meron na rin siyang 2 small business that where he managed to employ his 8 siblings who were previously not employed then. So yun yung one of the great success stories. And that's the power of education, kasi when sa malalaking pamilya na Pilipino, kapag may isang nakatapos, multiplier effect talaga siya dun sa pamilya. And hindi lang yon sa employer niya, sa community niya, sa nagawa niyang business, and so on. Yeah.
So, Carmina, ano ba yung mga challenges that you encountered in implementing your programs during the pandemic? Meron din bang opportunities? Because we know there are difficulties during this
definitely.
times.
All businesses have difficulties, including ours. So during the pandemic, I mean, one of the most heartbreaking things talaga that we saw is how much students struggled, mostly with their mental health. So apart from yung financial problems, right? So that's when we really ramped up yung community operations namin to provide stronger emotional support for our students. But yeah, challenges for us is really increasing awareness to students, especially because we're trying to introduce them a solution to their problem of financing. But at the same time, yung buong school system was being disrupted, right? So yung hindi natin, parang magtatatlong taon na wala pa rin face-to-face classes, right? And we've also seen some students na we could give a loan to, pero magsasara yung school nila. So marami talaga nagsara na schools. So that's one of the challenges, how much the education sector has really been disrupted, and the effect on that sa students, and us as an institution that supports students. How do we pivot fast enough in order to meet those needs? So that's really one. Yeah.
So during this pandemic, we realized a lot of things. One of them being that education really is very important. And as you said po kanina, Ms. Carmina, education is powerful. Na kahit isa lang ang nakapag-aral sa isang pamilya, it's a ripple effect. It can have a powerful effect. So ano ba ang pananaw mo sa ating educational system ngayon? Anong klaseng suporta ang dapat ibigay ng pamahalaan sa mga kabataan upang sila ay makapagpatuloy sa kanilang pag-aaral?
Yeah. There's so much to improve on with how much the government can help our youth better. The first thing I would say is that we have to really value our youth, kasi yung innovation nila, entrepreneurship, and their productivity in the future sa labor force, that's what's going to grow and keep our economy going. So for them to lack support in this time, meron tayong term, di ba, na the pandemic generation. Hindi natin alam yung mga kabataan ngayon who had to learn in this situation, ano mangyayari sa kanila in the future, diba? So what are some of the things we can do? I think better collaboration between the government and the private sector definitely would help, kasi yung government can do a lot in terms of providing that aid, financial aid na pangtawid, diba? But apart from that, really creating that ecosystem for success para sa ating mga estudyante. To concretize it, I think that there needs to be more coaching talaga brought to students. There needs to be more mental health services for our students. Kasi marami din talaga lumalapit sa amin na they're really battling, a lot of mental health issues right now, pero walang libre na services, diba? So yun. And then better support for schools, kasi talagang struggling ang ating mga educators, hindi lang yung mga teachers, diba? The school institutions themselves. So more financial and other types of support for schools would be really great. And kami sa Invested, what we can offer is really like our knowledge in dealing with youth, to whether it's the government, schools, or other institutions that are involved in serving them. So yon. In conclusion, talagang we can do a lot better, but that this is the type of problem na sobrang systemic. Walang specific na isa lang na may kasalanan. Sistema talaga siya. And for us to break this systemic problem, we need to give students more holistic solutions. Like what we do at Invested, hindi lang financing, meron ding coaching and emotional support. Yon.
For our last question, Carmina, ano bang advice ang pwede mong ibigay sa ating mga kabataan ngayon? At magandang tingnan yung naging experience mo sa, pakikipag-ugnayan doon sa mga nag-avail ng programa
Naiyak ako bigla.
ng InvestEd at saka yung mga success stories na nangyari because of the programs you are implementing.
Yeah. Okay, so my message is very simple sa mga kabataan. Huwag niyong sukuan yung pangarap niyo. Naiiyak. Pero kasi nakaka-heartbreaking talaga siya to see young people na we're just really left in this situation. Diba? So, sa mga kabataan out there, huwag niyong sukuan yung pangarap niyo. There are institutions like Invested you can approach para supportahan kayo. And you will stumble and the journey will be difficult, but it will be worth it talaga, lalo na para sa mga pamilya nyo kapag ituloy nyo talaga yung pursuit ng pangarap nyo. And it's never too late. It's never too late to pursue your dreams for you and your family. And visit us at invested.ph if you need that additional support to go from where you currently are to where your dreams are. Yon.
Thank you very much for the engaging discussion, Ms. Carmina Bayumbong. Now for our next guest, let us all welcome Ms. Yani Hornelia Donato, Country Manager of Canva Philippines. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Yani. Why don't you greet the viewers of ECOPlus Amplifying Your Voice?
Good evening, Sir Roland and Kristia. Good evening to everyone watching tonight, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak to all the ECOP viewers and community. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much po, Ms. Yani, for accepting our invitation. So, can you start by telling us a little bit about Canva and how it started in the Philippines? Did Filipinos, especially the younger generation, find it easy to embrace and patronize your products and services?
Sure. So for those who don't know, Canva is a online visual communications platform. It's essentially, imagine an online app where you can go to it and create anything you can imagine, from websites, presentations, social media posts, Instagram posts, or even newsletters. Or sometimes people even come to it to make something from scratch. So it's online and it's free and it's accessible to over 190 countries in the world, the Philippines being one of them. The product itself was launched in 2013, but we opened our office here in the Philippines in 2014. So since then, Filipinos have been able to use Canva. But in 2019, that's something special really started. That's when Canva started looking at the Philippines as one of our key markets. So what that means is we localized the product. Ibig sabihin, we started putting more local content or content that represents true Filipino culture, so that when you're Filipino, you're using Canva, you can really feel and see that it represents you. So whether that's templates or elements or photos or even fonts that represent our culture, you can find it there now. And I can say that since we've done that, Filipinos have always used it since 2014, but we've definitely seen a rise in interest and people coming back to Canva every month to use it to create their content.
You mentioned that you have contextualized Canva here in the Philippines, and I'm also curious that since you did that, usership increased, but I'm also curious how much of that could have been because of the pandemic and people working from home.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of online apps really saw a lot of growth in their apps when 2020 happened or when the pandemic happened, because people had no choice, unfortunately. But when everything shut down, it meant everybody would start working from home, learning from home. So while it was really hard in the beginning, slowly but surely we saw an increase in students and teachers going online using Canva to create school materials, lesson plans, or even their homeworks. We saw a lot of MSMEs, small medium business owners, turn to Canva. There's a lot of different kinds. There are those who've already been using Canva for their social media and marketing content. But then we also saw a lot of those who had no choice when their physical stores shut down. They had no choice but to turn their stores into something online. So we're very lucky to have seen that and to have been able to support our Filipino entrepreneurs and business owners to pivot their business and not just survive but eventually thrive despite the challenges brought on by the pandemic.
Would you have any idea, Yani, kung ilang users meron ang Canva?
Yeah. Globally, we have 75 million monthly active users. In the Philippines, we have around 5 million monthly active users. And a lot of that growth came from especially when 2020 happened.
Canva's main headquarters is in Australia. How did Canva Philippines develop values and culture more attuned to the Filipinos with respect to your workforce, human resource management, and even your customers?
Yeah, we're very privileged. I think before I answer this question, I have to paint a picture of how lucky we really are, because Canva's founders are some of the most amazing people we've ever met in terms of they have an amazing vision for the product that is Canva. But more than that, and more importantly, they really have an amazing vision for how they want their company and their people inside the company to be treated. So our founders, Melanie Perkins, Cliff Albrecht, and Cameron Adams, from the very beginning, even when Canva wasn't as known to the world as it is now, they were very clear about what values matter to them in growing the company. And these values are universal, regardless of where you are in the world, same as the product. When we develop the product, we want Canva to be for everyone. So in terms of the behind the scenes and the workplace, we want it to be for everyone. So we have 6 core values in Canva. That's 6 of them, but in gist, they really mean 2 things, right? So it's being a force for good, being a good human, and also at the same time pursuing excellence and making our goals happen. So anchored on all these different values, we ensure that we thrive in diversity, but all of us live by the same set of values, no matter where we are here in the world.
How many employees do you have now in the Philippines?
We have over 600 employees. So we started with just 8 in 2014. Today, we have 600 employees.
And most of them are on a work-from-home arrangement right now because of the quarantine restrictions?
All of us are in work from home. Mula nung nagsara kami nung March 2020, we've never really opened again. Not because we can't. We still have the office, but it's a deliberate choice. When the pandemic happened, all the leadership teams, it was very clear, the priority is to keep the team safe and healthy. So while the threat of the pandemic still exists, we'll retain a work from home environment.
From 8 employees to 600 is an incredible growth. But could you tell us a little bit more about your journey at Canva and how it has shaped your career and even your outlook in life?
It's so interesting. It's a roller coaster journey. I think it's one of the I call it a startup journey because it really feels like it is that. I joined it in 2015, just a year after they opened an office here. My background then was I was a recruiter for an executive search firm, and I studied psychology. So in my mind, I was almost always just inclined to pursue something that's related to HR or people development. And then luckily, I was already using Canva as a product. I was using it when I was making mga job ads on LinkedIn. And then I saw one day that they were looking for their first recruiter to be based in the Philippines. So they already have an office in Australia, but they have an office here and they're looking for a recruiter. Long story short, I applied and I got the job. And since then, one of the biggest learnings I really had was just to say yes to a lot of the opportunities that come my way. And never really stop myself. Even if I don't know something, I would not look at that as a challenge or a blocker, but rather an opportunity for me to learn and grow. And because of that mindset, I was able to move and grow from recruitment to HR to learning and development to even office operations. And then eventually in 2019, being the country manager, which meant I also now would be looking after the growth of our user base, not just our team, but also our user base in the Philippines.
Anong klaseng trabaho ba yung ginagawa nitong inyong mga 600 employees, Yani?
There's a lot. So we have different specialties. Our biggest team here is called Customer Happiness Team. In other companies, you'd know it as a customer support team. So essentially, they send emails back and forth to our users if they have questions on how to use the product. Our second biggest one is design. So we have a lot of designers. So if you go on Canva, you'll see there's so many templates, different templates that you can use, and it's really beautifully made. I'm not sure if it's a secret, but the nice thing about that is like 90% of those templates are actually Filipino made by our designers here. And then we also have a different range of growth and marketing and operations, finance, HR. So it's been really diverse. And most recently, we also started really scaling our engineering team locally as well. So madami, there's a lot of jobs and we're always hiring. As a matter of fact, we're hiring around 144 people as of yesterday. So if people are interested, canva.com/careers and you'll see all our openings there.
So, related dun sa previous question ko, Yani, when you recruit your employees, your staff, what do you look for from them? And is it easy to find these kinds of people in the Philippines?
Yeah, so we look for, so the first question there, right, what do we look for? In Canva, we were able to really articulate what the four main skills that we look for in Canvanauts. So we call Canva employees Canvanauts. Your craft being kung ano yung dinadala mo. So for example, you're a designer, so design is your craft. Or you're an engineering is your craft. Communication skills. In any role, we've seen that it's really important to us that someone is an effective communicator, no matter what forms and methods of communication that is. We are looking at people who are strategic, so people who can really solve problems and hard problems for us and take us next level. And last but not the least is leadership and coaching skills. So a lot of our roles have opportunities for people to grow into coaching responsibilities, being people leaders. So those four skills. And of course, people who are aligned with our values, the ones that I had talked about earlier. Whether or not it's easy to find in the Philippines, I think there's always going to be a challenge when it comes to recruitment. But, the numbers speak for itself, being able to scale from 8 to 600. It's not impossible. There are really great people in the Philippines, and we want to continue providing jobs for Filipinos.
These 600 people that you have right now are all based in the Philippines?
Yes, 600 in the Philippines, but globally we have 2,500 employees. Australia is still the one with the largest office, pangalawa yung Philippines.
Saan pa ba merong office ang Canva?
We have four big ones. So Australia, Philippines, the US, we have in China, and then we have satellite offices in Europe as well.
These are incredible feats and incredible achievements. And Canva is in the top 3 companies in the best workplace in 2021. Also for 2 years now. How did you and your Canvanauts do it? Ano ang kaibahan ninyo sa mga multinational corporations na mas matagal na dito sa Pilipinas?
Oh, well, yeah, it's been 3 years in a row. We're so lucky that Great Place to Work awarded us the number one spot. But also, I think what makes that award more special is because to win that award, they actually conduct really in-depth surveys for our team. So our teams will dictate kung ano yung position namin sa rank, because depending on their interviews and what employees say about us, that's how Great Place to Work will determine if you are deserving. So number one, it's a good testament because that means our team feels happy and supported because of their feedback. We reached that spot. I don't necessarily think we do something different, nor is it a secret, but I know that what's been really important for us is acknowledging that Canva as the product will not grow to where it is now without the amazing team. So as equally important as in investments in product development, we also invest in people development. Hence, there is a dedicated team just doing that, looking after people. It's called, layman's term, it's called People Group. This team's mission is to create effective and engaged teams where our goal is that people as individuals really feel like they are doing the best work of their lives and Canva is able to support them to do that. And along the way, while it's not been a perfect journey, we've just made sure to really listen to the pulse of the team. How do you do that? Culture surveys, feedbacks, FGTs, all these different mechanisms that really will tell you what the people are saying, what they want, and address their needs as it comes.
So, from the perspective of your experience at Canva, how tech-savvy exactly are Filipinos and how will this help them in their careers and even their personal lives?
Filipinos are really tech-savvy and efficient and resourceful. Forgot to say, incredibly creative as well. So I think it's a perfect match with the product because Canva is so simple and intuitive and easy to use. Our dream is that 7-year-olds can use Canva and your grandparents can use Canva. So we always try to simplify the product because it's really important, especially in the emerging visual literacy culture worldwide. We really want to set up Filipinos to succeed. So what we're doing is really trying to reach users who have the real need for this skill. So who are they? For us, those are people in the education space who are students and our teachers and business owners, because after you graduate from school, eventually you venture into the workforce or you create your own business. So the dream is that Canva is with you in every step of the way and you find it to be an essential staple in getting your goals achieved.
Are your employees or staff mostly millennials or those who are in the age range of between
26
to 41?
Yes, most of us are within that age range. Still diverse, but a lot of us would fall under that age group.
Yeah, kasi yung millennials 26 to 41. For the last question, Yani, what would you consider as your biggest achievements as country manager of Canva Philippines?
That's a hard one. I think one thing that I'm really proud of is being able to continue to scale the team and grow the team despite having the pandemic brought upon us. We saw, unfortunately, a lot of businesses are not able to do that. But we're lucky in Canva that we're able to not only keep the jobs of the people who are with Canva, but also provide more jobs to Filipinos during this time. And also, I'm really proud of the fact that we are becoming instrumental in helping teachers and students cope with distance learning through our app, and also seeing Filipino business owners use Canva. It's free mostly. It's easy to use. They save a lot of time and money in their marketing and social media resources, and we're able to help them boost their sales and have more profit because of our product. So we hope to continue to do that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yani Hornelia Donato, Country Manager of Canva Philippines, for being a part of the show.
Thank you, and good evening to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we proceed to our last guest for tonight, mga Ka-ECOP, we will be right back after this segment.
Employers Confederation of the Philippines believes that our employees are the most valuable asset and investment for any organization. Workplace illnesses, injury, or death translate to substantial costs on business with negative impact on the economy. Thus, it is only right to give priority attention and importance to our employees' safety and health. With this, ECOP launched its Occupational Safety and Health Academy to implement intervention to promote a culture of compliance with OSH laws, regulations, and standards. The OSH Academy offers a comprehensive range of services. We offer workplace risk assessment to ascertain gaps in compliance to laws and regulations. We design remediation program to assess non-conformances. We offer public or in-house training to capacitate personnel on the law and practice related to OSH, such as the 40-hour Basic Occupational Safety and Health Training mandated by the Department of Labor and Employment, the 8-hour mandatory OSH training for all employees of enterprises, the 24-hour training of the trainers as mandated by DOLE, the training on maternal and child health, healthy lifestyle, mental health, HIV and AIDS, TB in the workplace, and the drug-free workplace. We also offer technical assistance in the formulation of corporate policies and installation of program on OSH as required by the law, and consultancy and advisory services on the challenging aspects of compliance. We have been accredited by the International Labour Organization Training Center in Turin, Italy, to conduct the Essentials of Occupational Safety and Health (EOSH) program. The EOSH training package is a suite of 29 modules covering a selection of themes and topics that promote a general culture of health and safety at the workplace, as well as the specific risks and issues on OSH. The package features a modular approach whereby users can select among the 29 modules and create the course that best suits their need. To learn more about our Occupational Safety and Health Academy, visit our website ecop.org.ph or email us at ecoptnd@gmail.com. Thank you!
And we're back. Welcome again to ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. I am Jose Roland Moya. Let me introduce to you our last guest for tonight, Mr. Carlos A. Bartolata Jr., founder and head of One Smile. Hello, Carl. Batiin mo naman ang mga manonood natin ngayon sa ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. Pati na rin yung mga kababayan natin sa Ticao Island, Masbate.
Okay, so good evening, Sir Roland, and of course, magandang gabi po sa lahat ng viewers natin dito sa ECOPlus. And I also would like to greet yung mga kababayan namin sa Masbate, sa Ticao Island, particularly sa aking bayan mismo sa San Fernando. It's good to be here, and I'm excited to be talking a lot of things about One Smile, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome po, Sir Carl. So, to start, tell us about what kind of organization One Smile is. Where did you first get the idea to establish it? And why One Smile? Ano ang meron sa likod ng pangalan na iyon?
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Christie, and good evening. First, I'd like to give you an answer or tell you a story of how One Smile started, so that we can grasp kung ano talaga yung One Smile. Way back 2013, that was December, if I can recall, I was supposed to go home in Ticao kasi it's Christmas season, so dapat uwi sana ako sa people. However, fully booked yung ticket dito sa Cubao, so I wasn't able to secure a ticket for myself going home. So, anong nangyari? I have an excess goods na napadalunan ko sa raffle dun sa office at DNR. So, since hindi ako makakauwi, I contacted some of my friends na hindi rin makakauwi. And then suddenly, I was able to pull around 7 or 8 group of friends na nandito sa Metro Manila na hindi rin makakauwi. And then we thought of gathering lahat ng mga nakuha namin for Christmas. And then ipamigay namin sa mga tao sa community, So that was the idea. And then suddenly they agreed naman na gawin namin yon. So kayong Christmas, we rented a jeepney, and exactly, siguro mga 2 p.m., lumabas kami, umikot kami sa Metro Manila, and then pinamigay namin lahat ng goods na yon, na niluto na rin namin, pinak namin, including our clothes na sobra. And then, that started yung One Smile na, no? So after the activity, parang nagkaroon kami ng usap-usap with the friends na sumama. And we're happy na tinanong namin yung sarili namin, kumusta yung activity, kumusta yung pamimigay. And we came out with one answer. Sabi namin, it was really fulfilling. So, from that time, sabi namin, baka mas mainam siguro na gawin natin every year. So, ayun. From that particular activity, nagsimula na yung One Smile talaga. So, every year, ginagawa na namin na we go to different places in Metro Manila and we give food, we give clothes dun sa mga nangangailangan. Pero, after that activity, kasi that was 2013, ano? So, move tayo dun sa 2014. Sabi namin, baka hindi lang enough na mamigay tayo. Dapat siguro meron tayong area of focus para din sa ginagawa natin. So, masyado na bang mahaba? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead po, sir.
Okay lang. Okay, sige. Para lang sana mapagpigay yung story namin. So, after a year, nung namigay kami, so, yung dati kong landlady sa tinutuluyan ko dati, introduced me to a community in Rizal. And this particular community, nandun nakatira yung mga dumagats, particularly yung mga remontadong dumagats. So, we know for a fact that these are the indigenous people. And then, I was able to see and to witness kung gaano kahirap yung buhay ng mga tao living in the mountains. Kasi nandun talaga sila sa bundok eh. So, nung na-introduce sa akin ng landlady ko, yung grupo na to, nagkaroon ako ng reflections sa sarili ko, how blessed I am to be here. I have work, I have friends, I have access to many things. So, why don't I give back to them? So sabi ko, anong particular na kailangan ng community na to? So I went back several times. I had to talk with the chieftain of the Remontadong Dumagat and even the people in the area. And then I found out na yung mga bata pala na nandoon, 50% of them hindi pumupunta sa school or hindi nag-aaral. And then 50% of the kids or the children pumapasok sa school but they have to travel or they have to go through or pass through 3 rivers bago sila makarating sa school na pinakamalapit. So napakahirap ng buhay ng mga bata. So sabi ko, gusto namin ilapit ilapit yung education sa kanila. So, nung nandito ako sa Manila, ginather ko yung mga kaibigan ko, I presented to them an idea. And the first idea na naisip ko was to come up with a kubo-aralan. Diba? It's a facility wherein children can read, can learn how to read and write. And then, we committed na kami mismo yung magtuturo, kami mismo yung mag-aalali sa mga bata para matuto sila. And that's exactly what we did. Nung nag-agree kami na gawin yun. So, we brought all the materials na kailangan for that kubo-aralan. Ginawa namin lahat ng books na dinonate sa amin, dinala namin sa area. And then we came into an agreement with the chieftain na all the fathers ng mga kids, they will be the ones who will build yung kubo-aralan na yun. And then we will provide all the materials. Tapos, with no fee at all. Kasi siyempre, para naman yun sa kanila. So they agreed to that. However, several months later, we encountered a problem na yung chieftain biglang nagbago yung kanyang isip. So, hindi natuloy, in short, hindi natuloy yung aming kubo-aralan. And that was the most difficult time na na-experience namin. Kasi yun na sana yung parang pinakamagandang proyekto na pwede namin ibigay sa komunidad. At in the end, it wasn't that successful or it didn't materialize. So, gumawa kami ng isang paraan ulit kung paano namin matutulungan yung mga bata. And doon mismo sa school, kung saan nag-aaral yung 50% na sinabi ko kanina ng mga bata, doon kami nakipag-ugnayan sa kanila at nagturoan ng partnership. And even up to this very day, we are still good partners. So, lahat ng mga kailangan ng mga bata doon, including yung mga non-indigenous na children, tinutulungan na namin. So, doon naging area of focus ng One Smile na more of education or giving access to children who are living in the far-flung areas or in the remote areas. So, nagturo kami. Every Saturday, ginagawa namin yan. And Sunday, nandun kami sa area nila. At tinutulungan namin yung mga teachers kung paano turuan yung mga bata sa lahat ng subjects. And nag-feeding na rin kami, and so on. So, wala pa dun yung pangalan ng One Smile, ano? Parang hindi pa namin nabubuo yun. And then, nung nakabalik na kami ng Metro Manila, sabi namin, ano ba talagang gusto natin mangyari? So, doon, naisip namin na ang sarap sa pakiramdam seeing these children smiling at you na nandun ka sa kanila because they feel na andun yung malasakit mo para sa kanila. So from that time, sabi ko, Pinoy bata. Sabi ko, why don't we tag them as Juan? Kasi sabi ko, si Juan talaga typical na Pinoy eh. So yun, doon nagsimula si Juan. And then sabi namin, since we love seeing their smiles, so masarap na pabalik-balik na binibigyan namin sila or pinapangiti namin sila. So dun na nabuo yung One Smile. So ayun, yung One Smile, it's a volunteer organization wherein the members or the volunteers are a group of professionals from different government agencies and private institutions. And to date, we have more or less 200 volunteers. And syempre, dun sa volunteers na to, hindi lahat nandun or hindi lahat sumasali sa mga activities namin. We have regular volunteers. We have volunteers also na sumusulpot lang, syempre, kapag available sila. But if not, we do not force them. So, ganun yung patakbo namin sa One Smile. And yun, it's good also to share na we started from 7 and then now we're more than 200. And these are friends of friends of friends and colleagues of colleagues and colleagues. So parang sumanga na lang siya ng sumaka. And we are hopeful na siguro at the end of the year, mas dumami pa yung volunteers namin. And we're happy na somehow we're able to let people give them the platform kung saan sila makakatulong. Ayan, thank you very much. I know I talk a lot. So, ayun lang.
So I think Christian has a follow-up question.
Yes. So, sir, what inspired you to form your own foundation or organization instead of simply joining one?
That's a good question, Ma'am Christia. I used to be an island boy, so I saw kung gaano kahirap maging mahirap. I saw kung gaano kahirap na wala kang access sa mga bagay-bagay na yan. So, nung nandito ako sa Metro Manila, sabi ko sa sarili ko, this might be my chance na mas makatulong ako into a wider audience or mas marami kami ma-reach out. So yung experiences ko growing up that served as my inspiration to come up with my own group rather than joining lang sa isang bagay. Oh, it's not bad at all to join. But I don't know, parang yung experiences ko lang talagang dinala lang niya ako dun sa One Smile na talagang binuo ko. And hindi ko ma-explain pero ganun siya ang nangyari na parang ginamit ko lang yun as my motivation and my inspiration to come up my own volunteer organization.
Yeah, Carl, mahirap magbuo ng isang grupo lalo na kapag ito ay volunteer organization. Siyempre, kailangan mo ng mga warm bodies, kailangan mo ng sponsors, kailangan mo ng resources, and of course, it's also important to identify, beneficiaries of your program. Ano yung mga difficulties na pinagdaanan mo when you were just starting with your group?
Okay, so difficulties. Yes, we encountered a lot of difficulties. Number one is, of course, financial. Yung resources namin. Financial resources, yes, human resources. These are the two major difficulties that we encountered. And when we started, napakahirap kasi volunteer organization kami. There are organizations or there are companies na gusto magbigay ng maraming amount, or malaking amount, but you were asking for a lot of papers and these papers that we cannot produce. So that isa yun sa mga nag-hinder talaga sa amin. And hindi naman kami siguro sumuko na sabi namin, yung intention namin was good. So we're happy na ang daming taong mababait na when you get to know them and explain to them kung ano yung gusto mong mangyari, ano yung proyekto mo, ang bilis din kumuha ng suporta. So, when it comes to financial resources, nung una talaga, sir, to be really honest, we found it very, very difficult to look for funds and to look for donors and sponsors. Mahirap din mag-build ng trust. I mean, like, sila, i-invite namin na sasabihin namin to trust us, na hindi mapupunta sa wala yung kanilang ibibigay. Napakahirap nun. And it took us a lot of parang convincing power para maniwala sila at mabigyan nila kami ng pagkakataon na we are really doing our best para din sa mga taong gustong tulungan namin. And yes, the manpower, yung volunteers, napakahirap din kasi given na yung target namin talaga are really professionals from different fields. And these professionals na meet namin during the first time na in-invite namin sila, they're very busy. So napakahirap na punan sila ng oras para magbigay sa ganitong klaseng activity. Pero hindi kami sumuko. And siguro ang naging isa sa mga naging dahilan kung bakit dumami yung volunteers namin is we kept on inviting them. We kept on telling them na eto ang benefits, but these are the things that you would feel when you get to experience yung mga ganitong klaseng activities. And we're glad na somehow yung mga tao na experience yung word of mouth na kinukwento nila sa mga kilala nila, yun na rin yung naging encourage dun sa mga ibang volunteers para sa
Carl, how are you able to convince your sponsors to continue supporting your advocacies and programs?
Well, we are just being transparent sa lahat ng mga ginagawa namin. We make sure na yung mga donors and sponsors namin, they are well informed of the finances or the money and the resources na binibigay nila sa amin. So sinisigurado namin na informed sila ng lahat ng bagay at lahat ng flow ng activities. And we're happy na even up to this day, meron kami mga regular donors and regular sponsors. Meron din kami mga one-time big time sponsors. And for the past 8 years na ginagawa namin to, I can proudly say na siguro naka-establish kami ng tiwala dun sa mga sponsors and donors namin. So we just have to be really transparent with them.
So itong mga donors at sponsors nyo ay hindi yung one-time, sponsorship or donations lang, mga umuulit silang at tuloy-tuloy na nagbibigay sa inyo ng support.
Yes sir, tuloy-tuloy. Like I mentioned a while ago, may mga regular donors and sponsors kami. And we also have yung mga one-time, big time. Like we experienced that. Merong isang bagsakan lang na napakalaking amount of money. Meron namang mga isang bagsakan lang din na napakadaming goods. So merong mga ganon. Pero itong mga regular donors and sponsors namin, ito yung inaalagaan din ng organization. Kasi we don't want to fail them. And we're very happy na sabi ko nga talaga, ito yung mga ambabait na from time to time parang hindi mo na alam, parang gusto mo nang tanungin, hindi po ba kayo nagsasawa na mag-donate?
yung donor fatigue. Donor fatigue na tinatawag.
Exactly. Pero I don't know, for some reasons or whatever reasons they have, talagang hindi sila nagsasawa na tumulong. And ang laking bagay din sa amin. So, nagpapasalamat kami kasi yun yung namin yun yung fuel namin to keep moving. So hopefully talaga hindi sila magsawa, and we're still hoping na mas dumami pa yung aming donors and sponsors.
Could you tell us more about what kinds of activities has Juan Smile been doing over the years? We've been told that some of your programs are very unique and you were able to pull them off successfully despite being, unique and sometimes never been heard before. Tell us more about those, especially the ones that you did or achieved during the pandemic.
Yeah, thank you. As mentioned a while ago, during my first discussion, we focused more on the education aspect, but later on, siguro, since dumadami yung issues natin dito sa Philippines, like every day, we encountered a lot of issues in our communities. So we thought of having other activities on top of the education-related activities. So, nag-venture out kami dun sa pag-respond sa mga natural calamities. For instance, yung mga typhoons na dumating sa atin, the recent one, siguro yung sa ECOPlus, and then we had yung sa Cagayan na typhoon and so on. So, yun, yung mga victims of fire, and then yung mga victims of different man-made or natural calamities. And during the pandemic, I'm very excited to share about our experiences during the pandemic. Napakahirap. I thought hindi na namin kakayanin na makatulong kasi una, there is the threat of the COVID-19. So, yung mobility natin ay very limited. So, napakahirap din doon. It was very challenging for the entire team of One Smile. But we strategized kung paano kami makakatulong in such a way na safe din kami, especially yung mga volunteers namin and donors namin. So, ang ginawa namin, una, we help those na number one na naapektuhan ng pandemic nung nagsisimula pala. Una, siyempre yung mga laborers natin, yung mga seafarers natin na nawala ng trabaho, sila talaga yung mga tinulungan natin. So, ang naging strategy namin, we usually hindi namin sila hinaharap face-to-face, but we made sure na makakarating sa kanila yung mga tulong na kailangan nila. And then, nung nauso yung community pantry, so, grabe na kami talaga doon. Talaga na-impress kami kung gaano kaganda or yung konsepto ng community pantry na sinimulan dito sa Maginhawa. So, sabi namin, kailangan, pwede tayong gumawa din ng pantry natin. Pero paano kaya natin magagawa ito na mas maganda in such a way na mas marami tayong nare-reach ng mga tao. So, ang ginawa namin, we thought of having our own mobile community pantry. So, itong mobile community pantry namin, umiikot to sa mga cities sa Metro Manila. So, pumunta kami ng Malabon, kami ng Las Piñas, kami ng Quezon City, para at least yung mga tao, hindi lang sila yung tipong pipila sa Maginhawa kasi nakita naman natin for many months na napakahaba ng pila. So, dinala namin yung pantry sa different communities through our mobile community pantry. And then, hindi lang kami doon kontento. Sabi namin, paano naman yung mga nagtatrabaho, like the riders, na talagang every single day, umiikot sila, sobrang init kasi summer nun eh. So, ang ginawa namin, nag-come up kami with this idea of having our own coin community. So, it's a combination of coins and then tea. So, ang ginawa namin, naglagay kami ng isang basin dun sa labas ng DNR. By the way, maraming salamat sa DNR for all the support. So, ginawa namin yun, naglagay kami dun in which people can give their coins kasi naniniwala kami na yung mga coins, admin naman sa hindi. Ang ginagawa natin sa coins natin, either tinatapon lang natin yan dito sa ating alkansya or tinatabi natin. Kasi for some people, akala nila wala nang gamit yung coins. So, nung pandemic, naisip namin na yung coins, mahalaga to. Yung coins may gamit to, may use to, may value to. So, yun yung prinisant namin sa tao. And good thing na naman siya. So, nakarataba ng puso na ang daming tao nagbigay ng coins at ang dami ring tao nakinabang ng coins na yun. So, on the part of the tea, isip namin, since pandemic, napaka-importante na dapat healthy yung ating iniinom. So, yung tea, nag-serve kami ng tea talaga. Kasi kami mismo yung gumagawa ng tea. And lahat ng ingredients ng tea na yun, sinisigurado namin na fresh at talagang healthy. So, yung tea, I got the idea of the tea dun naman sa office namin sa DNR. Kasi meron isang grupo doon na everyday, naglalagay sila ng tea dun sa office namin. And for free yun, So, ikaw, depende sa yung gano'ng, anytime pwede kang kumuha doon at kung gano'ng kadami yung gusto mong kunin. So, hinalo namin siya, kaya siya naging point unity. Una, nung nilagay na namin siya sa labas, akala namin hindi siya papatok. And then, nung medyo dumami na yung tao, na yung mga riders na, yung mga passerby, lahat ng mga nandyan. Dati, 1 galon lang, okay na kami. Tapos, every single day habang tumatagal, pinukulang kami. Kulang na yung 1 drum, kulang na yung 2 drum, hanggang sa nakaka-4 na drum kami in a single day or in a day. para
In
lang
just
doon, apat
in
na
just
dalawang
one location?
Yes, in just one location.
Wow.
So, grabe yung hirap. Ang tindi ng demand namin for volunteers for that. Kasi hindi ganun kadali magtimpla ng tea. Hindi siya yung tipong ilalagay mo lang yung powder and so on. So, ang daming process. Like, basta, maghirap siya. And we added also, tinapay na din, sabi namin, para ang partner ng tea sa mga nagugutom. And we're happy na talaga yung mga tao, lalo na yung mga riders natin na nagkahanap buhay, they were able to benefit from that community. So, good thing, ibabalik namin siya this summer. We are preparing for that. Pero we are making it to a point na mas enhanced na yung version namin ng community this time.
Yeah. Very recently, you were given a World Excellence Award in Humanitarian Service as an outstanding leader volunteer by the International Internship University. And this is just one of the many recognitions that you received, Carl. What have these accomplishments, these awards, these recognitions meant for One Smile and yourself?
Yeah. To be really honest, these awards were really unexpected, and I didn't personally wish for this. We've been doing a lot of activities since 2013, where it was only around 2017 when we started receiving awards from different award-giving bodies. And it's really overwhelming for someone who is a volunteer and a leader of a volunteer organization. Pero hindi ko siya ginagamit as something na pwede kong mayabang. Pero I use it in such a way na challenge ko ang sarili ko and binomotivate ko yung sarili ko na itong platform na binigay sa akin ng Diyos, I have to do more and I have to give more. So, ganun siya. And I want to thank the people na binibigyan din kami ng pagkakataon to have such awards and to be recognized also. Salamat sa mga taong naniniwala sa amin. We were just nominated. Hindi namin alam. Suddenly, may mag-chat na lang sa amin or may magtatawag na lang sa amin organization that we got nominated for this particular award. And still, maraming salamat. And we will use this as our way of giving and honoring yung aming mga donors and yung sponsors namin. And of course, yung mga volunteers namin and beneficiaries. So, ayun sir, yun lang naman po yung take of that.
So, Sir Carl, with One Smile, you have had so many achievements and you've been able to help so many people. But aside from One Smile, you are also working at the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. We want to know how you've been able to manage your time and your tasks effectively. What advice can you give to millennials and maybe even Gen Z, since most of them are now also part of the workforce, about pursuing their advocacies while also managing their responsibilities at the same time?
Thank you, Miss Christian. That was a difficult one, Pero sige, let me share. Yes, I work in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. I've been in DNR for more than 8 years now. And to be honest, the work in the government, particularly in DNR, is not that easy. It's very demanding when it comes to time. It's demanding when it comes to your competencies, especially that I, for one, I handle, or my team handles, the ENR Academy. So it's the Academy of the Environment and Natural Resources. So we offer a lot of courses under that academy. So medyo mahirap kasi very demanding yung trabaho to the point na talagang i-exhaust lahat ng kakayanan mo. But I am very happy that I am part of the department. Sabi ko nga, I'm napaka-fortunate ko na part ako ng DNR. DNR gave me a lot of opportunities and opened a lot of doors for me. And DNR is very supportive sa ganitong advocacy ko. In fact, karamihan ng volunteers po namin sa One Smile are from DNR. So thank you very much to DNR. And yes, how do I manage my time given that I have responsibilities both in my work and in One Smile? So basically, number one consideration ko is you have to prioritize which one is really important. Then I can say that the two are really important. Yung work ko sa DNR, it's my bread and butter. So yun yung fuel ko to be able to complete my task every day and to support my family as well. Pero yung One Smile ko, it's like, alam mo yun, parang it feeds my spirit or yung soul ko, yung food for my soul.
Parang inspiration,
and, Yes, ganun siya, yung One Smile ko. And napakasarap sa pakiramdam na sometimes when people ask you, how do you manage it? Na pinagsasabay mo yung PDN or other curricular mo tapos mga ganyan. So sabi ko, si One Smile, iba to. I mean, there are things that I can't explain, but I know in myself, deep inside that I'm really happy with my advocacy. And ayun, when it comes naman to my fellow millennials to the Gen Z, siguro may piece of advice na pwede ko talaga ibigay sa kanila. Number one, we know for a fact na yung generation ngayon, they are empowered and their voices are being heard. And I personally believe that they have this power to influence. And siguro may piece of advice is that for them to be able to use that influence to influence others to do good, all for the glory of God. Napaka-importante na piliin natin at gamitin natin yung influence natin para gumawa ng isang makabuluhang bagay para sa ikabubuti ng kapwa, hindi lang para sa ikabubuti. Dahil kapag gumawa ka ng isang bagay na maganda, ito ay makakatulong din para sa ikaganda ng komunidad mo at syempre ng mundong ginagalawan mo. So sana ganun din yung gawin ng mga tao, lalo na yung mga katulad natin, na mga millennials. And I'm happy na natutuwa ako na ang dami rin nagsusulputang mga organizations na pinapatakbo ng mga kabataan na sana masustain at sana mas dumami pa.
Yeah, very well said, Carl. For our last question, paano ba maging kabahagi, maybe as a volunteer or a sponsor, a donor to the various programs, activities of One Smile? Paano ba kayo kokontakin? Sinong tatawagan? And maybe you can call on our fellow Filipinos, other organizations, probably even sa business community para lalong dumami yung suporta.
Or even our ECOP members.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Sir Roland. Una sa lahat, bago ko sagutin yung tanong, allow me to give thanks to all our donors and sponsors. Kami po ay napakadali ng kontakin. If you want to be a volunteer, hindi mo na kailangan mag-register pa or kailangan mag-fill out ng form. Wala po kaming ganoon. Kailangan lang namin is yung desire mo to help. So anytime you can contact us. We have our Facebook page. It's One Smile, or you can directly contact me at my Facebook account. It's Carl Bartolate Jr. Just message me and tell me or tell us that you want to volunteer, that you want to help in any of our activities. And just give us kung ano yung available time when we will find a way to communicate with you. So inaalagaan namin yung mga volunteers namin. And for those who wish to help us more, these communities, lalo na yung mga nasa malalayong lugar, una maraming salamat. Yung gesture po ninyo ng pagtulong ay isang malaking inspirasyon sa mga katulad ko para ipagpatuloy yung mga misyon na katulad nito na ginagawa namin. At pangako nga namin na hindi kami titigil hanggat hindi kami nakakatulong sa mas maraming kababayan natin. Habang kami ay bata pa, meron pang energy, masisikapin namin na mas marami kami matutulungan. So thank you in advance kung tutulungan niyo po kami na mas makamit pa namin yung mga goals namin sa One Smile, yung aming advocacy na mas marami pang taong natuto at mas marami pa taong umangat yung buhay nila. So katuwang niyo po kami dyan kung kailangan niyo po ng isang organization na katulad namin. So thank you very much po. Sa ngayon, we are in need of yung means, yung parang yung vehicle ba? Kasi number one na problem namin yan na from time to time, nagre-rent kami ng sasakyan every time na magkakaroon kami ng activities. So, nag-iipon kami ngayon para kami ay makabili ng second-hand na sasakyan kasi mas mabilis natin ibibigay yung tulong kapag meron din tayong machinery or meron din tayong sasakyan para doon. And Ayun po, reach out ninyo po kami, and we are also working sa aming website, actually 1 year in the making na yung website namin. We're just fixing pa yung details or yung content ng website namin. But we can announce it now. It's www.onesmile.org. So siguro in a span of 2 or 3 months, okay na siya. You can browse it over and you can see our activities. You can see all the members, all the volunteers of One Smile, and yung mga goals namin and activities na namin in the future.
Isa kang inspirasyon sa ating mga kabataan, Carl. Ipagpatuloy mo ang iyong ginagawa, at I think One Smile will have more supporters, more volunteers. Thank you very much for guesting in today's episode of ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. Ang bisita ulit natin ngayon ay si Mr. Carlos A. Bartolata Jr. We call him Carl. So, keep safe, Carl, and good day.
All right. Thank you, Sir Roland and Ma'am Cristia. Again, maraming salamat sa pagkakataon. I'm sorry I talked a lot a while ago, but then again, thank you very much for this opportunity. This means a lot. So, thank you and stay safe as well. God bless you all.
Let's have a short break for ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice, Netizens Q&A.
Gulong-gulong ating isipan,
ang gagawin hindi malaman. Sari-saring pagpipilian, nabasa kung saan-saan.
Maraming iba, China, Europa, Amerika, India at Russia.
Lahat magagaling at kung tatanungin ang mauna ang tanggapin. Bakuna, tayo ng lahat magpabakuna. Tayo lahat magpabakuna. Di na kailangan magduna. Bakuna, tayo ng lahat magpabakuna. Tayo lahat magpabakuna. Masasagip ang buhay at kabuhayan ng buong bansa. Huwag kang magduda-duda-duda.
ang kabutihan ng bakuna ay malalaman ng madla. Kapakanan ng iyong kapwa, gayon na rin ang iyong pamilya.
Balik ang trabaho, uunlad ulit tayo. Bukas muli mga negosyo. Kalusugan at kita for everyone. Lahat yan ay makakamtan.
Bakuna, tayo ng lahat magpabakuna. Tayong lahat magpabakuna. Di na kailangan magduda. Bakuna, tayo ng lahat magpabakuna. Tayong lahat magpabakuna. Masasagip ang buhay at kabuhayan ng buong bansa.
Roland. We are now in the ECOPlus Netizens Corner segment of the show. Let's take a question from our netizens. One is posted in ECOP's Facebook page from Jerry na nagmamay-ari ng isang medium-sized company in Cavite. Hello, meron po akong tanong tungkol sa mga programa ng Social Security System. Meron po bang maitutulong ang ECOP upang maidulog namin sa SSS ang mga issues na kinahaharap namin tungkol sa kanilang mga programa? Hirap po kaming kumontak sa kanila.
Jerry, maraming salamat sa iyong tanong. Tamang-tama, kamakailan ay nakatanggap ng advisory ang ECOP mula sa Social Security System. Pinapaalam ng Social Security System sa ECOP na maaaring dumulog ang mga company sa kanila upang ang SSS ay makapagbigay ng webinar sa mga empleyado ng isang company upang maipaliwanag ang mga employees' compensation at social security benefits and privileges dahil talagang napakaraming katanungan, Christia, tungkol sa mga programa ng SSS. Madalas tayong nagkakaroon ng mga executive labor updates, kasama na dyan ang ating members general meeting na ang daming mga tanong tungkol sa social protection schemes. Kasama na dyan yung mga programa ng social security system. Kapag ang isang company ay member ng ECOP, ay maaaring tulungan kayo ng ECOP na mag-arrange ng isang webinar among your employees at saka ng social security system. At itong webinar na ginagawa ng social security system ay exclusive para sa company na nag-request nito, at dito ay maaaring pag-usapan ang mga halimbawa, yung mga sickness, maternity, unemployment, disability, retirement, death, and funeral benefits ng social security system. Christia, baka pwedeng maibigay mo yung contact details ng ECOP para kay Jerry at pati na rin sa mga nanonood ng ating episode ngayong gabi.
Yes, of course. You may contact us through our Facebook or LinkedIn page. You just have to search Employers Confederation of the Philippines and you will be able to access our page. You could send us a message and we will try to get back to you as soon as we are able. You may also visit our Twitter page or our Instagram page, which are both ECOP_PH. All of our accounts are currently very active since if we learned anything during the pandemic is that digitalization is very important for companies.
Yeah.
So we are very easy to reach on our social media channels. Please check them out.
Thank you very much, Christia. And salamat, Jerry, sa iyong tanong at sana ay nasagot ko ito. Again, pwede naming kayong tulungan lalo na kapag ang company mo ay maging member ng ECOP para magkaroon kayo ng kaugnayan at mas madali nating makontak ang social security system at ma-discuss yung mga issues tungkol sa kanilang mga programa.
For our netizens that are watching, kanina binanggit po namin na ang ECOPlus question for the day ay dapat abangan para manalo kayo ng papremyo. Ang ECOPlus question for the day ay ano ang age range ng mga millennials ngayong 2022? Between what age na po sila ngayon? Ang mechanics para makasali kayo sa ECOPlus question of the day, i-comment ang sagot sa Facebook account ng ECOP with the following format. #ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice, space, your answer, space, ang title ng episode na ito. Don't forget also to like and share ang episode na ito sa ECOP Facebook page. Ang mapipiling mananalo ay ino-notify sa ECOP Facebook page at bibigyan namin ng instructions paano makukuha ang premyo.
Thank you so much, Miss Bayumbong, Miss Donato, and Mr. Bartolata Jr. for your time. Maraming salamat din kay Jerry sa iyong tanong. Huwag niyo rin kalimutan mag-post ng tamang sagot sa ating question for the day upang manalo ng premyo. Mga ka-ECOP, I'm your host, Jose Roland Moya, with my co-host,
Chris Chabanda. See you every other Monday at 5:30 p.m. sa next episode ng
ECOPlus, Amplifying Your Voice. Stay safe and good night, everyone.
In today's fast-paced, dynamic, and complex work settings, sound industrial relations enables the enterprise and its employees to work together in the most productive and harmonious manner. It provides enterprises with the necessary responses through institutionalized mechanisms and tools to adapt quickly as situations, especially those that could lead to conflicts, unfold. Labor compliance is also important in maintaining good relations between employers and employees. ECOP's training services are responsive to the needs of employers to put in place sound industrial relations and comply with labor standards. ECOP's industrial relations programs helps companies prepare for DOL's labor inspection, install social dialogue mechanisms, engage in collective bargaining negotiations with trade unions, and design proactive employee discipline and termination process. Our industrial relations program is open to members and non-members of ECOP. However, members of ECOP are allotted free slots, and when they have to pay registration fees, these are based on discounted rates. The IR program can also be conducted in-house to suit the requirements of a specific company. Some of ECOP's IR programs are synchronous or self-paced and could be accessed via the ECOP e-campus. ECOP Training and Development Department also offers technical assistance in installing industrial relations interventions through our help desk. To learn more about our industrial relations program, visit www.ecop.org.ph or email us at ecoptnd@gmail.com.